Welcome back to my channel. I am going to work on this old belt sander. This got an interesting story to me. It was my grandfather's, and a buddy of mine who was getting into knife making wanted a belt sander, of course, for all the things your knife maker wants a belt sander for. And so we bought it from him, put it on the shelf, didn't get around to it, and then my grandfather died. And my buddy says, you know what, you should have this belt sander back. So he gave it to me, which I think is really cool, because it seems to work right now. I don't have any real problems with it, except for there's some disconnect between this shaft down here and the other side. If I had a free hand, I could show you that I can spin one side independent of the other, which isn't good. Anyway, it could use a good going through, so I'm going to start cleaning this up and evaluating what's going on with this shaft, and I'm going to fabricate some sort of a plate to go here. And then, anyway, this is going to be my next rebuild, so hope you enjoy. So the diameter of the inside of this pulley here is 5/8, which is nice because I happen to have a length of 5/8 inch bar stock. I guess it'd be ideal if I had a lathe. I could turn it down to fit precisely, but you know, I don't have a lathe. So I'm going to work with what I got. I'm going to clean this up. I think I'm going to start with probably just some super purple in a spray bottle, which I've got. Carb cleaner and all that stuff is great, but dollar for dollar, it's hard to beat. Actually, this is at Formula 99. I think it's $4 a gallon or something like that. And I put it in a spray bottle. It's, like I said, dollar for dollar, just the best value for cleaning up. So I'm going to give this thing a once over with the Formula 99. I'll show you the container if I find it. And then bring it back. So this was much easier than I thought. All I need to do is tighten the set screws down. And I think the pulley might be a little bit out of alignment, but for a low speed V-belt, low power, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. Now I'm going to set to building some sort of a, they call that the basal platen? I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I keep hearing everybody use that term. But I'm going to build the flat spot to rest it on. Probably be a little bit different than my sander here. Or I don't know. We'll see what happens. Bring it back. Alright, so what I've done is disassembled the little arm that was on there, and I found in my scrap bin what looks to be like a piece of 3/8 by 1.5 or 2 inch with some holes that happen to be the right size already in it. I took the two little tabs that used to be incorporated into the design and just put them back here to act as not only washers, but you know, in case I ever find pieces of this machine later on, these will stay with it, so sort of dual functionality. It gives me the washers, but I'm also keeping the machine intact. Like I said before, it's got some sort of sentimental value. What I'm going to do now is sort of clean this up and then weld that on there, and that should give me a pretty good foundation for a plate to work off of when I'm sanding. Alright, I think I heard somewhere that the arc flash can actually damage the sensor on these, and I'm going to use my cheap camera, which is recording up above. I did some MIG welding earlier. Anyway, it's just not enough to touch this because it's a 110 volt machine. But I'm going to use my on Lincoln welder, which was an earlier restoration video, to fix this current restoration. And if you notice here, I've got tools that are featured in some other videos. So if you see a trend going on here, I like to use the shit that I restore to collect more tools, to do more tool stuff. It's sort of an affliction, I guess. But it's fun, and I enjoy it, and I hope you guys do too. Alright, that's a 70-24 drag rod. I don't know what kind of metal this is, and it's been a long time since I welded, so I'd say it's pretty crappy. But I'm going to add another weld to it and keep going. Alright, that's the second pass of the 70-24. That's interesting because the weld seemed to be gravitating towards the top plate. I mean, I was really trying to stick it into the bottom plate, but I guess for whatever reason it wants to flow up towards the thinner section. Anyway, this is for a 1-inch belt sander, so you know I can't go crazy with this thing. This is more than enough weld to hold the damn thing. So I'm gonna let it cool down, get out of the damn smoke, and then come back and start cutting it off and making it fit better. Alright, so this sander video of mine has evolved a little bit. There wasn't any real damage. I didn't need to replace the shaft that ran through the middle. What I did need to do is to fabricate this what I've colored here in red. This program is SketchUp. It's a free product that was initially developed by Google, and I think it's since been bought. But anyway, it's still available for free. It's a really neat program. It's what I use for my 3D printer. I design everything in here and can export it out, and then anyway, if you guys are interested in 3D printing stuff, I could go that route. In this particular case, my 3D printer is limited to 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and this might just be on the outer limits of the my printing capability. So anyway, I tend not to design things ahead of time and then try to fabricate it, because then I have to sort of go down a certain path and order materials. In this case, I just dug through my scrap pile and started to just use stuff that fit. And anyway, all this is to say is, first off, SketchUp's a great program because a lot of people take the time to make drawings and save them and upload them. And in this case, somebody happened to have already drawn a sander that is very similar to mine, which is, you know, at one point it would be unbelievable. But anyway, SketchUp is awesome, and the community that provides to it is, you know, it's like YouTube. It's just great that people take the time to do this stuff. Because I was able to just grab a sander and throw it in here, and it's like exactly like mine. So that was really cool. So what I did here is just sketched out what I'm making, what I'm in the process of. The other half of this video is in red here, is basically this plate. What I might do, which is a little hard to demonstrate, I didn't want to turn this into a tutorial about SketchUp, is I'm either going to add a rotational component that adds that lets this tip back and forth with a 118 degree mark on it, so that that's the point of axis is off, but you get the idea, so that I could hold a drill bit straight along here and sharpen drill bits with it, or I could take a protractor and find 118 degree mark and cut a trough in the top, so that when I lay the drill bit down in there, it helps me reestablish that factory 118 degree mark bevel. So anyway, that's my plan, is to just keep working on this section here. The whole machine functions fine. Bearings are great. No reason to tear it all down and repaint it, because again, I'm just want tool to work, and like I mentioned earlier, there's some sentimental value to this. And with that, I'm going to bring you back to the shop, and we're going to get to cutting and grinding and maybe a little bit more welding. So now what I was showing you on the computer, hopefully that sort of gives you a little bit of an idea of where I'm going with this. I know you can't read my mind, and I think it might be a little bit more instructive for people watching to not just wait till the end, watch the suspense build while they figure out what I'm doing. So there is a method to my madness. I don't necessarily sketch everything out ahead of time, but you know, I enjoy building things just sort of on the fly and adapting and improvising and whatnot. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and lop this off here and then see what I need to do to clean the edges up, and go from there. I'll bring it back. Proceeded to cut this off without hitting the record button. I used a little cutoff wheel. They work great. It's pretty thick stuff. Anyway, you probably didn't need to see that. So, most people have fancy deburring tools. This is my fancy deburring tool. So that's sort of where we're going with this. So I'm going to proceed to clean and grind this up. Alright, the mill scale and everything on there is pretty heavy, and I'm not too worried about getting it all off of there. I've been watching a guy's channel called Scout Crafter. If I figure out how to post a card, I'll try to, but anyway, it's just Scout Crafter. He does an awesome job with a lot of his tools because he takes the time to sand them down, wire wheel them with a couple different types of wire wheel, and then he really does put a nice finish on them. And I haven't got to the channel yet where he talks about shellacking them to preserve the look. As much as I know, I've been using the Johnson paste wax just to keep the tools from rusting and whatnot. But apparently the shellacking is a different technique that I've yet to learn about. So anyway, I'm going to keep grinding on this, and I'm not going to go to that mirror-like shine, just because, you know, it's going to go on an old rusty tool. And again, I'll finish it up with that paste wax. You know, and I'm going to try to throw this in the sandblaster and see if I can't get it to take off the mill scale on here, and then bring it back and see if dress it with the flat paddle, the flappy paddle. Alright, so this is a before I go to the sandblaster. I got sidetracked with a phone call there. So anyway, just to give you an idea of what the sandblaster can do to this. That's before. So that was about 2 minutes of the sandblaster. It was really working good today. Surprised how well it worked considering it's been raining the last day or two. I can see some of the weak spots in my weld when I was using the 110 volt MIG machine, flux core MIG machine. It's great for small stuff and maybe even for tacking things to hold, but you know, to really get some penetration in there, you need a stick welder. This is the 7024. I probably need to go watch welding tips and tricks again or whatever, but I think I could have used some more heat on this, but it's not going anywhere. It's not Chucky 2000 rated or whatever, but it's good enough for me. So my objective with the sandblasting was to take the mill scale off of here and get this to some sort of point where it looks alright and doesn't just look like a piece of shit. Anyway, let's see if it makes a difference. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not polished or anything. I guess I could polish it. And then, anyway, I'm going to keep, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll grind this side down and just for uniformity. Maybe I'll give it a coat of paint and then come back and clean this up. I don't know. I would decide bring it back. So I threw a little paint on it. I figured there's no point in spending all the time polishing stuff you're not going to see, or grinding for that matter. So I'll paint it now, but I'm going to come back and do some cleanup on it, and then once it's done, once I've got all the finish work done and everything on it, then I'll probably put a final coat of paint on it and let it dry overnight or while I'm at work or something. Now I'm going to finish chamfering these edges, grounding down some of the ugly spots, and just sort of improving on the fit finish. So there it is, in place. It's pretty sturdy, but when I was thinking this out, I wasn't thinking about covering behind the belt. It just never occurred to me to come further back here. I think aesthetically it would look more pleasing, but I'm not sure that there would be any additional utility to having a flat spot back here. I mean, if you were, I don't see how that would be an advantage, especially if you were coming in with a knife and you wanted to get a longer stroke, because you would sort of, it'd carry you. Maybe that's just a rationalization, but anyway, this is what I've built. I'm going to stick with it. I think making sure that it is perpendicular to the belt is important. So I think to that end, I might scribe a line in. Actually, I don't know. I think it might just be easier to use a 90 every time or periodically, to make sure that's in line. Anyway, very sturdy. I think it's going to work well. I don't think I need to drag this video out any longer. Actually, let me get it running and sharpen something with it, and then I'll end the video. Alright, so I'm glad you made it this far into the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this looks like it'd be a hand tool rescue thing where you come back and strip it all down and take it apart. I'm not interested in going that route. I'm interested in making the tools functional, and just as long as there's nothing deteriorating. The rust isn't aggressive, it's a surface rust. The only thing that I've done to sort of increase the longevity of this is that with the old style motors with the caps on them, there's a piece of felt that should go in there to help wick the oil down. I put new felt in there and some new just straight 40 weight oil, and for practicality I built this as you just saw. And the belts, I have one extra belt for it. There's 60 grit that's on here now. I'm probably going to order some more, some finer ones. I think eventually I might get to the point where I want to polish and finish sand some of these tools, but for now I've just got an old chisel was probably in the ocean at some point in time, because I've never seen anything so rusted and pitted. But anyway, for intents and purposes, it's a good practice. I really bear down on this. Pushing pretty hard. Now this will probably be the only practical use. Pencil sharpener. Alright, thanks for watching. Again, please leave comments, like it, dislike it. I'm not sure if disliking will trend you away from other hand tool videos, so I'm not sure that that's an option, or it might work counter to whatever if you are interested in tools and mechanical stuff to whatever degree. Disliking it might not work to your advantage for whatever algorithms that YouTube's running. So just leave a comment, say, hey, the video was great, or it sucked, or you could do it better. Whatever it is, I really don't have any heartburn. Leave a comment, constructive comment, please. And if you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see, I'm working on this isn't my job. I don't do this stuff for a living, as you can tell. But if there's any particular content you want to see, let me know. Alright, that concludes the sort of functional build for this 1" by 30" belt sander. Next project is going to be either the large or small slip joint pliers or this set of tin snips. I'm hoping to get some more action on the channel comment wise. If I can get, I've got a playlist built up that I'm going to try to compartmentalize just my tool videos in, which are just a part of what I document. I also try to document car repairs and home DIY projects and hacks and stuff that I get into. They're usually geared around trying to save $1, not paying outrageous prices for proprietary stuff. So anyway, relative to the playlists that are tool oriented, if I can get some more comments on there, some feedback as to what I can do to improve the channel, I'd appreciate it. And if I can get 50 comments, 25 comments, let's not start too high, 25 comments on the any one of the builds that you've seen so far, I will mail a random person who lives in the continental United States a refurbished set of slip joint pliers. So anyway, make comments. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching. See you later.